So we know that we have to supplement with glycine. Collagen is necessary. We have to eat more animal meats in general. But what about other biohacks that are out there that we could introduce? People always love. We talked about the infrared stuff. There's red light therapy, other types of, photobiomodulation. Everyone has their Juve or whatever up and, is sitting in front of it now. What are other hacks people could implement to help themselves with collagen?
Yeah, two other hacks would be microneedling, which everyone's into, to increase the stimulation. That's what's happening is as you microneedle, the body then stimulates the synthesis of collagen. And so that's why there's benefits afterward. And then also blood flow restriction actually has numerous benefits beyond just increasing, potential collagen synthesis. But that's another one too, where you don't fully restrict blood flow. It's a partial restriction of blood flow. And then you do that while you're exercising. And then you take off the restriction during the set. And you get better gains with a lower amount of weight. And you're also going to get better collagen gains as well doing that.
And do you have a recommended one? Because I have really cheap Amazon ones that I use, but there are the really expensive ones that pump up to a certain amount. I just strap it on and you don't cut off circulation. It's not like I'm struggling to put it on and off and it's like my arms are going blue. But yeah it's $10, whatever, just a strap that goes around there. Right. Is that good enough, or do you recommend going for the true kind of BFR upgraded ones?
Yeah, I have a Katsu. So
the Katsu, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the most reliable brand in my opinion. And they come with 2 arms, 2 legs. You typically don't ever want to do 2 arms and 2 legs at the same time, constricting. You know what I mean? You usually do either both arms or just 1 arm or both legs. You don't really want to do all 4 limbs. What's interesting too is there's applications outside of just collagen synthesis and athletic performance. There's really cool, it's called ischemic preconditioning. Like you have a heart attack, but you're still alive. And what they do is they've done many studies on this, where they will constrict the arm, or they will basically constrict some blood flow to the leg, like a tourniquet style. And they do that for 3 to 5 minutes, and then they let it go. They release it for a couple of minutes, and they do that 3 to 5 times. And when you do that, you precondition the heart to ischemia, and there's an upregulation of all these sort of defense mechanisms, so that when you reperfuse the heart, a lot of people don't realize that when you reperfuse an ischemic artery, that can kill someone because there's a huge now rush of blood flow and oxidative burst that occurs. So by preconditioning, there's been studies showing that blood flow restriction can basically increase the survival after a heart attack, which is kind of cool.
Really cool. And I mean, your background is cardiovascular research. I got to ask this. Any thoughts on, what's going on with athletes with cardiac arrest? Let's say Damar Hamlin, right? I've watched a lot of football, never saw anything like that. And that's, it could just be an offshoot, but you're seeing a little bit more from what I understand in soccer players in Europe and everything, just wondering your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So my thought more shifts towards the increase in sort of Achilles tendon ruptures, and there's up to a 10-fold increase. We have really good data from Europe as well, showing that just basically over the last 30 years, there's been around a 2 to 10-fold increase in all of these tendinopathies and injuries from tendons and ligaments, which comes back to probably 2 things. One, probably not getting enough collagen, and 2, the switch over to turf from regular grass is probably dramatically increasing, the ruptures of the Achilles tendons. So I think there are some studies looking at mRNA imaging of the hearts after, things that we won't mention, right?
Yes.
That may increase inflammation in the heart. But for sort of, outside of that, whether there's a link between that particular case or just was it a bad hit, I don't want to speculate.
No, it's never good to speculate. It's always good just to ask some questions around, try to get to the root cause of it, because it seems that it's becoming more, but you can't ever speculate. And I agreed with you. That's what I wrote in my last newsletter to say, here are my thoughts. I don't know. We don't know. Right. It's great to ask questions. We shouldn't be told to shut up if we ask them, but we can't, directly say it was this, it was that.
Right.
And we wish them best and speedy recovery, of course. But even looking at that kind of impact of collagen, let's say, not just on ligaments, could that improve cardiovascular? Could that improve cases of, myocarditis?
Well, here's what's interesting. So we know that the lining of the stomach and the lining of the heart are made up of collagen. So the lining of the arteries can potentially be improved with collagen supplementation. And we have studies actually showing that endothelial function, arterial health, blood pressure, nitric oxide formation improves with collagen supplementation. So there's probably something to do with the improvement in the endothelium, which is the single-celled layer lining, our organs, our arteries, our intestines, through that mechanism. So I do think that collagen has a potential to transition also to benefits to the cardiovascular system.
Are there any other supplements you'd say for anyone fearing something of inflammation, myocarditis, anything of the cardiac nature along with collagen that you'd say, look into this?
Yeah. Well, we talked about glycine and glutathione, which is anti-inflammatory. Vitamin C is really important. This was really interesting. So I think it was back in World War II, there was a certain group of pacifists that refused to go. And in order for them to get out of going to war, they had to agree to be in this 2-year metabolic study of vitamin C deficiency. So these people were forced to say, okay, we're not going to fight, but we'll let you basically, deplete us of vitamin C. Well, some of the early signs was essentially coronary thrombosis from vitamin C deficiency. In other words, and I cover this in the book, there's this vitamin C collagen theory of heart disease, that if you're not getting enough vitamin C, you're leading to a collagen deficiency in the heart itself. And you actually can see bleeds in the heart. And that's what you actually, if you look on coronary autopsy, what ends up happening is the capillary actually bleeds. It starts bleeding, and then the clot comes from the bleed. So there are certain researchers back at even, in the 1950s, going far as back as that believed that heart disease was primarily driven by basically poor capillary health, which essentially comes down to vitamin C, copper, collagen. So we do have a whole chapter on that, which is a pretty interesting story in the book.